Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with the daily technical update on the 31st of August, the last day of the month. And today we'll start with the UBS group that reported earnings after the merger with or takeover of Credit Suisse a couple of months ago. And it gapped higher after blowout earnings results. And it is this gap that we could call a possible exhaustion gap. Usually in a strong uptrend, you see three gaps. You see a runaway gap, a continuation gap, and an exhaustion gap. Usually the runaway gap is a little bit earlier in the stage, but nevertheless, we have three gaps here. So that's going to be interesting. It has cancelled its divergence on the RSI for now, at least, unless it totally collapses today. So one should look out for is the lower rising trend line here on the RSI. If we see some weakness in the price and if breaks below this rising trend line, that could be the first warning of a trend exhaustion. If we look at the weekly chart here, it has reached the 138.2 projection of the big correction here back in Q1, Q2. Also, as mentioned in my technical update a couple of days ago, you can find it on Sachs Trader and on our website and my Twitter account. If we're moving into the monthly chart, just to get a bigger picture. So what we are now, as we speak, we have cancelled the divergence on the RSI. So if it closes above this trend line, the dash line here, then it cancels the divergence, and it has also closed above the resistance area around 22 and a quarter, and it could move higher in coming months. So a fairly strong move here, but again, keep an eye on the exhaustion gap. Moving on to the usual markets, we're looking at S&P 500. It is back above the cloud, still below the resistance here at 45.27. That should be observed, and also that RSI is still below 60. So I need a confirmation above the resistance and above 60 to actually say, okay, now we are back in full-blown uptrend on S&P 500. It looks a little bit better with the well, not that much, to be honest. We are above the resistance, but we are still below the cloud, the upper part of the cloud, and we are still below the 60 threshold here on the RSI. So yes, technically uptrend, higher highs and higher lows, but I would like to see a confirmation before I think we will move towards the previous all-time highs there. But it's not out of the question, definitely not, and it looks promising. Hang Seng, for a second day in a row, it opened above the resistance here at 18,562, but collapsed and closed below again. So quite a weakness there on Hang Seng index, and I think we will see lower levels in coming days and into next week. DAX still below 16,060. It needs to break above that so to really get into bullish mode. AEX Amsterdam is testing the upper line here. Let's adjust that a little bit. It's more closer to 750, but it is a resistance at the moment, and also the 200 moving average. So we could still see some weakness going in, and it could still be caught range bound. But it's not out of question. We could get a little bit of a higher correction here, but overall we are in a downtrend on AEX. The Belgian market rejected at 36.96 resistance, still bearish sentiment, so I believe we'll move lower here on the next few days. CAC, on the other hand, technically in an uptrend after breaking above the upper falling trend line, higher highs and higher lows, but it is not really confirmed with the RSI above 60. I really like that before I go full blown bullish on CAC 40. So it can still be a little bit of false break there, really. So let's see here the next couple of days. Moving on to the FX market, we have euro dollar that broke the upper falling trend line very close to the 38.2 retracement at 109.60, which I actually did expect it would be tested and the lower part of the cloud. It can still be seen, but it seems like the 100 moving average is a little bit of a too strong resistance. Can't really well, it did penetrate, but I can't really close above. So next couple of days could be decisive for this, and I think we will see, nevertheless, regardless of testing the 38.2 retracement or not, I do believe we'll see a euro dollar resuming downtrend towards the 106.90, possibly lower, below that level. Excuse me. The dollar index retraced to 103, could have dropped to 102.40, which is the 38.2 retracement, but here we have the 200 moving average that seems to be a bit of a strong support. Also, we have the 155 moving average coming up, adding some support, but there's still, I mean, it's not out of question we will see a dip lower, but it seems like we are resuming uptrend here, and let's see what this can do. It opened lower than the close yesterday, and if it opens, if it closes higher than the open yesterday, then we have a little bit of a bearish, bullish engulfing here, and the correction could already be over, but you're still out on that one. The cable testing and being rejected at the upper falling trend line here. We are in a bearish sentiment, and we could see, we are likely to see cable trending lower in coming weeks. Having another go at the 55 moving averages and at 128 is not out of question, but I do believe we will see lower levels on cable in coming weeks. Dollar yen, that shoot higher here the other day, but 146.60 is a strong resistance. Can't really close above it, so we could see dollar yen drifting lower in coming days. Euro yen almost the same, actually closed above the 159.50 level, which was a minor resistance in this range here, but it can't really follow through today. It seems we are still in a bullish sentiment, but it's really struggling for upside momentum, and there has been some, as you can see, divergence where the RSI values are declining, where the market has been moving higher. So maybe we are in a little bit of exhaustion mode, at least short term here, and we could see it setting back to around 157-ish level. But the overall picture, if we look at the weekly, it's still in bullish sentiment, it's still in bullish mode, and it's still in bullish trend. So, but I think we'll see a lot of whipsawing between the 157 and possibly up to 160 here. It's a fairly wide area that it is currently trading. Moving on to the commodities market, we have the gold spot that is currently testing the 1947 resistance. It's not the strongest one, but nevertheless, it's just below the cloud, and we have the 100 moving average coming down here. So it's going to be interesting what will happen. What we currently see is that the RSI is above 60. Will it close above or not? And we could potentially have a setback down to around 1915, testing the 200 moving average again, which is rising, by the way. So the overall picture, I actually think we could be kind of range bound between around 1900 and a change, 1915, and up to around 1950. So I think a lot of people will try to predict the direction of the breakout here, but it is a little bit up in the air. I think we'll see a bit of range bound here, at least for the next week or so. The silver is in an uptrend, and usually it seems like it's being front running gold a little bit. So maybe that is the direction we are going. It is in a confirmed uptrend with the bullish RSI resistance at 25 and a quarter, and 26 around that level. I think we'll see that being tested here in the coming days and weeks. Copper Again, the 382 is the pivot where it's hovering around, closing above and then below, up above, and it feels a little bit frustrating to trade copper at the moment. However, we do have negative RSI, so we could see a little bit of a setback back to the 370 level. On the excuse me. On the Brent oil, currently at the trading around the 61.8 retracement, but the uptrend has resumed. The RSI is very close to breaking back above the 60, and I think we could see a test of the 88.10 resistance here shortly. The next couple of days will be decisive. Otherwise, we could end up in a range between 82 and 88 for some time. Finally, on the yields, the US 10-year yields in a correction phase, where we have the, let me just switch to the weekly here so we can get a bit of an idea. It formed this, it's not a picture, it's not a textbook perfect top and reversal pattern, but nevertheless we did have this doji here, so it is a bit of like a doji evening. It's not the perfect one, so we are in a correction mode to around 38.2 level at 411, but we could dip down to test the lower rising trend line, possibly dipping down to 4% before I think we will see a move higher again. There's no divergence on the RSI indicating we could see higher levels. All right, that's all for today, and happy trading. Talk to you again tomorrow.